Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Habitual. If you don't know me, I'm your host, Haley, and I wanted to start the episode today with going over my daily delights. I just think I want to get grounded in a little bit of gratitude and start it off on a fun, positive, high note. I hope everyone had a wonderful week and has fun weekend plans ahead. Um, I am getting my nails done tomorrow, so I'm really excited about that. Um, and going to the gym and hanging out with my little sisters. So I am definitely looking forward to the weekend, and I just wanted to, go ahead and start with my daily delights from today. Um, the first thing I was thinking about this today as I was eating them. Dates. My daily delight is dates. Yeah, I love dates and I snack on them all of the time. And I had the Costco pack of them, which is massive, by the way, as you can imagine, it's Costco. And I actually went through those and I hadn't replenished my stock in a few weeks, probably like a month. So I've just been living dateless. And I have just been really craving sugar because I am currently on my period and I just was like, oh my God, I can't stop thinking about dates. So I stopped and got dates yesterday. And today I was snacking on them and I made just the most delicious date snack ever. And it actually just like made my entire day. And so what I do, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not like medjool dates. Yeah. And I take the pit out and then I put almond butter on them. Also the almond butter from Costco. Not sponsored by Costco. The almond butter from Costco is so fucking good. It's like some of the best almond butter. The almond butter from Trader Joe's, I find like separates really weirdly and it gets like really chunky and like solid at the bottom, but then like super oily on the top. And I haven't really found an issue with that with the Kirkland kind. So I drizzle a little scoop of almond butter onto my dates. And then I really went the extra mile. Usually I'll just like put a dark chocolate chip or two on it. I melted my chocolate chips with a little bit of ghee in the microwave and then like, mixed it all together and drizzled that on top and then used sea salt on top of that. And when I say that it's divine. It is divine. My daily date delight divine, all the D words. But no, it actually just made me so happy. And if you've never had that, you have to try it. It's the best snack ever. Sweet treat, anything. Like I could eat 1,000. And dates are apparently really good for you. And so it's really just the best of both worlds, I think. In my mind. Anyways, that was like probably my number one delight today was my dates. And then my second daily delight was I had time today to listen to, I'm in a program right now, through the Cosmic Laundry, shout out, run by Giselle. And it is like a feminine astrology, women's circle community, where we just honestly, we talk about so much. What don't we talk about, honestly? But it's really centered around embodiment of feminine archetypes and female astrology, and is also just an amazing, beautiful circle of women that I'm so grateful and lucky to be a part of. Um, and Giselle made a video going over Neptune and Aries, the recent transit. Um, and I feel like I'm really busy a lot of the time, so I don't really get a bunch of time to like sit down and really watch the videos that are being uploaded. She uploads them like, I mean, really consistently, but this one's been up for a while, but I just hadn't had the time to watch it, and it was just so amazing, and I love her teaching so much. And if that sounds like you, no, really though, you should follow her on Instagram at the Cosmic Laundry. She's so wonderful and one of my favorite astrologers. Um, and yeah, so it was just really a great day when I get to spend time learning about the things that I love to learn about and learning from such a great teacher. But yeah, I think those are like my biggest two delights, other than, oh, yeah, I came home and my wonderful boyfriend had cleaned the whole house, and that was like, I needed that. I have been having myself a week, hence the being on my period, but also just, I don't know. There's just been a lot of like weird energy, I feel like, that I've personally been feeling. And I can get really sensitive to that. And it just was like a really heavy week for me. Huh. Figuratively and literally a heavy week for me. But yeah, it just felt really nice to come home to a clean house, and it really put my mind at ease. It was like kind of the final thing that just really allowed me to move on from my funk that I was in, which also leads me to the topic that I really wanted to get into for today's episode, um, which is really just big emotions and coping with them. And I'm like full transparency. I'm just really going off the cuff right now because it just feels really real and really relevant to me in my life because of this week. And I think that with a lot of stuff that's going on in the world right now, specifically in the United States, life just feels really heavy. And I know I feel it like a lot. And I'm sure that most people are also feeling that, especially if you live in the United States. Um, and it's just a hard time. And I I've always felt like I have had really large and big emotions about things, um, which used to really feel like a hindrance to me. And it makes me even sad to say that. Whoa. But it's something that I really used to dislike about myself. Um, and I had a really hard time with growing up. I just had a lot of outbursts. I felt so deeply and so strongly and expressed so largely. And it was definitely like a source of shame, I think, for me for a while. And I don't really think I accepted that part of myself, um, really until like college. And even then I was really like working through what expressing, and because in college I started expressing versus suppressing. And I was coming to terms with being okay with expressing those emotions. But then I also was really grappling with like how to do so in a healthy manner and not necessarily like explosive, or what's another word? yeah, explosive, I think. And my emotions were just going from like 0 to 100 really quick, and I was feeling them. I'll tell you that much. I was feeling the whole spectrum. And I feel like I've done a lot of work recently around expressing healthily and expressing my emotions in a way that they are still felt, and that I'm not just intellectualizing, but I'm also not ignoring, but I'm also not taking it out on other people or taking it out on myself or waiting for a bubbling moment, like letting them like bubble, like simmer below the surface until it starts all of a sudden they're boiling and tops off and hot water's everywhere. Sorry. I burnt my face. That I didn't even mean to use that metaphor, but I did recently a jet boil, which is like a camping tool that boils water really fast, did just recently explode in my face, and boiling water literally got everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean my whole face. And I had a burned face and it was peeling. And anyways, so that just reminded me of that. And that's really funny, cracking myself up. But anyways, yeah, I feel like I have really tried to figure out what's best for me in expressing my emotions, and not pushing them away, but also kind of mitigating the explosiveness of them, because I can't think of a better word. And this week just really, I was feeling so irritable and like angry. Um, like for like a whole week, like 7 days straight, I was like just fucking mad. And I think a lot of that has to do with what is going on in the world right now. Yeah. If it's not clear, fuck ICE, fuck Donald Trump. uh yeah. I don't even want to get into it because I'm just gonna go onto a whole rant, and I just don't. That's not what this is about. Um, but yeah, it's been hard, and there's a lot of shit to be fucking angry about, and a lot of stuff is going on. And as of right now, when I'm recording this, nothing is happening about it. Nothing is being done. So, anyways, there's just been a lot of anger in my body, and and it's been ruining my week. And this really doesn't happen to me often. I feel like I'm generally pretty good at getting out of a funk. I know all the little ways to kind of like get myself out of that and into a better headspace. And I tried every single one, every single thing, every single day. I I was working out, like doing crazy aggressive workouts because I was so fucking angry and I needed an outlet. And when I was working out, I'd feel a little bit better, like a little bit. And then the second I would like get in my car, like leaving the gym, to be fucking irritated again. And then I'd be like, oh, I just need sleep. And then I would sleep a lot. I'd make sure I'd get extra sleep. Woke up, just like every little thing was pissing me off. Sorry. And I tried journaling. That usually helps me. Writing out my emotions usually helps me. Helps me make sense of them, and also can like slightly intellectualize them, without just like sitting there in my head going in a circle and in another circle and just going and going. Um, and it helps me to just get it out on, like literally take it out of my brain and put it somewhere. That didn't help. Working out didn't help. And it was just, I was having a really hard time. I was struggling, and I was getting even more frustrated that all of my coping mechanisms were not helping me cope and weren't making me feel better. And I was like, eating my favorite food, like listening to music that I love. I didn't even enjoy listening to the music that I liked because I was just so angry. And God, word count, how many times have I said angry? It was really frustrating. And all of these outlets that I have that, like I said, always help me get out of that just weren't working at all. If anything, they were just like, it honestly felt like they were, in a way, like suppressing what I was feeling for the time being. And then when I was done, it would just go right back to where it was. And I was like, what the hell? And yeah, it's not a fun thing. It's not a fun emotion. I've struggled a lot with anger in my life growing up. And it's something that I've just always kind of had an issue with. Not an issue. I don't think that that's a good way to put it. It's just always been like a weaker joint, like in my emotional body health. I don't know. I don't know how to make that an analogy, but I don't think it's an issue. I think that it there are reasons, and I think that it is warranted and it makes sense. Um, but it's just something that I've really had to work intentionally on, and I've been very aware about and of for yeah, almost my whole life. So it was really uncomfortable to be feeling so much anger and not being able to dissipate it on my own. And also knowing that it was really, a lot of it was stemming from worldly issues that I also can't do anything towards. Um, and other people that are in power and can do things about it aren't. So it kind of just left me with like, well, then what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is supposed to, how am I supposed to move on? How am I supposed to move through this? And which also just, yeah, feeling stuck is a really shitty feeling. And that's really just how I felt. And it's very much like human design. It's like my not self theme is like frustration. But it's like very, like, it really feels like when I'm angry and frustrated, it really feels like it's like the farthest version of myself. Like, how do I put that? I don't feel like myself at all when I'm angry. Like I feel, or if I am angry, like a little bit angry, and then I like voice myself, and then the thing's resolved, and then I feel better. But this was just, yeah, this was something else. And it just really got me thinking about all of the big emotions that I think a lot of people have. Um, and I also think, just a little side note, I think that having big emotions is, like I previously mentioned, it was something that I really used to not like about myself. And I have learned to love it. And I think that it is one of my superpowers and one of my strengths. And I love feeling deeply. And I don't think that there's anything wrong at all with feeling the full scope and range of human emotions. I think that it is, even the negative ones, like they fucking suck sometimes, but they all serve a purpose. And you can't experience, pure joy and contentment without having first experienced pure, I don't know what the opposite of like content would be. Honestly, probably just like nothing, like numbness, or like being really, really sad makes you be able to be really, really like appreciate when you're really, really happy. And feeling emotions strongly is also it's such a wonderful thing to have the ability to do because yeah, when I'm frustrated, I'm angry and I really feel that in my body, like my blood boils. But when I'm happy, I can sit in that and bask in like the euphoric feeling of just feeling so much joy. And I would take that 100,000 times over feeling like being immovable or like impassible, like apathetic at its extreme, but like I would rather feel so deeply every single emotion than feel a shallow amount of all of it. Because even if, oh, that thing that could have made me really sad, but it only made me a little sad and oh, whatever, I just moved past it. But then how do you feel when you feel joy and when you feel excitement and when you feel satisfied and content? Like you just feel a little bit and then move on? I don't know. I think it's pretty amazing and I think that it's a pretty fucking awesome part of being alive and being a human is the emotions that we get to experience. Which also reminds me of a quote that just it's not even a quote. Is it? I don't know. But it's basically just the idea that emotion is energy in motion and it's energy like moving through you and your body. And that helped me a lot when I'm struggling with a negative thing or a harder, more difficult to process emotion. I'm like, it's just energy and it's running its course. Like it's moving through me and it will move through me and out me at some point. And all I can do is try and be a willing and open conduit for its path because I've spent enough time suppressing this stuff that I don't want to feel and nothing good comes of it. If anything, it makes it a lot worse later down the line. It might feel fine in the moment. You might be like, oh, just like gonna choose not to feel that. But yeah, do that enough and honey, you got a big storm coming. But actually, because when you do go to process it, it's not gonna be just one thing. It's gonna be years of stuff. And that that shit is hard. But anyways, um, I love having big emotions. If you have big emotions, I don't think that that is ever something that you should be ashamed of. And I think that finding those outlets to express yourself fully and safely and creatively and openly is so important. Is so important. And for me, that really does come out the most in working out and in moving my body. Especially with the harder ones, like it always makes me feel better afterwards. I always feel better. I feel like I can, now that it's working out has become such a habit for me, I feel like I can actually tell like when I feel an emotion like in my body, like where I can feel it. And I just like the instinct is to usually just like once I name it and I feel it, I'm like, okay, I need to like go move through it. Literally. Like move through it. Um, but also sometimes that's not the case and a lot of the times with like sadness and grief and nostalgia, and which I think can go hand in hand with grief. Um, I find that writing really helps me, and it helps me articulate what it is that I'm feeling and how it's affecting me. Um, but those are just two of the things that help me personally. And I think that it's really important if you are someone who feels really deeply and intensely to find those things that help you express yourself and help you move through what you're feeling. Um, all of this to say, I tried everything in my little toolbox this week to try and feel better. I was doing breath work whenever I could. I was, yeah, listening to my favorite music. I was working out. I was journaling. I was meditating. I was sitting in silence. I tried so much. And you know what the thing is that helped me move through all of it and was just a great reminder for me why it's so important is on the way home from the gym, I cried the whole way, which it's like a 45-minute drive for me. I live really far away, but that's a whole other thing. But for like 45 minutes, I literally sobbed like ugly cry. If you saw me driving, you would have been like, "Oh my God. Like, is that girl okay?" Like, what happened to her? Like, could barely even see, vision blurring, like just literally bawling my eyes out. Um, and sometimes I just forget that that's really what you need. At least that's for me. And I feel like I felt all the things that I had been feeling that had felt so trapped and like inside my chest all week, which was just, yeah, like anger, disgust, frustration, helplessness, um, grief, sadness, injustice, like all of the things just like poured out, and I just let myself sit there and fucking cry and feel it. And I listen to sad music when I do this because that's another thing. Sometimes I feel like I couldn't have gotten myself there. I couldn't have made myself continue to release like that if it wasn't for the music that I was listening to. Um yeah, that's like a huge thing. And sometimes I do this and other times too. I don't know why it took me so long to remember this week, but I just listen to like if I feel like I'm a little like sorry, I did this like literally a week ago. I was like, I was driving somewhere and I was like, I feel like a little emotional. I feel like I'm gonna start crying maybe. This was before my period, so like deep luteal. And I was like, oh, I feel like crying, like what I don't know, but like I didn't feel it enough to like actually fully cry. So I put on For Good from the Wicked soundtrack. Um, which makes me cry every single time I listen to it. Every single time I listen to it, I'm crying. And not like just like like a little tear. Like I'm crying. Okay. So I put on that song. This is the same thing that happened like last week. I cried for the whatever, it's like a 5-minute song. Cried for 5 minutes, literally fine, completely fine afterwards. I was like, yeah, great. Moved through that one. Um, yeah, but this one was a little bit bigger than that. This was like a whole week and just a lot of other stuff coming up. So I started with For Good, got the waterworks going, and I just listened to like I was like literally curating. I'm like, oh, that one makes me cry. That one makes me cry. And I was listening to all of them while literally sobbing and driving. And I came upstairs like into my house from the car after sobbing, and saw my boyfriend and hugged him and cried some more, and then was like, oh, okay. Like, I think that's what I needed. And then he made me dinner and I ate dinner, fed myself. And and then this was also the secret sauce. I got 10 and a half hours of sleep. 10 and a half hours of sleep after that. Woke up feeling just absolutely gorgeous. Perfect. Yep. And I'm not saying, I don't want this to be construed. I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that you should just like cry it out and move on. Especially with what I'm talking about in the state of the world right now. That's just not realistic. But for other emotions, like sometimes you just need a good cry. Sometimes this is just the it's not even an epiphany because I actually do this so often, but I don't know. It was just a realization that I came to this week that I really felt like I needed to share in this broader topic of just feeling deeply. And yeah, sometimes you just need a good cry, and sometimes you just need to listen to really sad music, aka For Good from the Wicked soundtrack. And you need to cry and you need to think about everyone that you've ever loved in your life and how they've made an impact on you. And yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Um I'm laughing at myself because I kind of feel silly, but whatever. I just think that in the bigger conversation, I just want it to be said a few things. One, if you're feeling the same way, you're not alone. It's a really dark and hard time right now. And there's so much suffering going on that you also don't deserve to suffer. And I know sometimes it can be hard to see the suffering of others and try and almost like deprive yourself of pleasure or enjoyment out of what feels like almost justice or hmm, I can't think of a better word. And like solidarity and being like, yeah, this is fucked up. And like, these are some like seriously like inhumane things that are happening in this world. And it feels, it can feel almost like guilty to still enjoy things when the world is suffering and feels like it's on fire. But I think it's necessary to remember that more suffering and hardship and all of these negative emotions on top of already that, like it can create like a negative feedback loop. I don't know if that's correct, but like when in reality, if you feel the things, don't look away, stay educated, stay aware, and stay angry, but also still hold love in your heart and hold love for yourself and your community, and being able to give positivity and joy and happiness to others in this time that is so dark is really what I personally believe is where we can make a difference. Um and just doing things out of the goodness of your heart and doing things to benefit your community and doing what we can in a time where it feels like no matter what we do, nothing's going to change. But thinking like that is really pessimistic. And I think that we need to as a collective, I was going to say be more optimistic, but it's hard to see the end right now. But we have to believe, we have to have hope. We have to have hope. That's the one thing that you can't lose in times like these. And however you can give that to yourself and to those around you and to your community, I think that is what we need to focus on right now, is continuing to have hope and feeling our emotions and feeling them without letting them consume us. Wow, this really turned a very different direction than I was anticipating, but I think that it's good. I think that it's a good conversation to have, and I think that it's hard to talk about certain topics. My hope is that I never push toxic positivity, and I hope that that's not what this is being construed as. I don't want to diminish anything that's happening right now. I don't want to diminish anything that's happening right now or anyone's feelings about what's happening right now. I just want to be the voice that says it's hard, and I hear you and I see you, and we can't let them take our hope. That's the one thing that we have. And we can't let them have that too. Okay. I'm going to end my rambling on that and hope that this was somewhat cohesive and easy to follow, and that I didn't go off the rails too much. But anyways, I think that you should be proud of your capacity to feel big things. And I think that in a world like the one that we live in right now, it can be really hard and it can be scary. But I think that remaining soft and having hope is one of the most rebellious things that you can do. And with that, in case you haven't heard it today, I love you. Mwah. I will see you next Friday.